Howdy, Buffalo Bard here, and in this video, well, first off, I want to thank you for watching, and I welcome all viewers who take the time to actually watch my videos. So, the main topic of what I want to talk about in this video is the weapons of the Division, what they got right, what they got wrong, and what do we need? What is missing from the game? But, besides the fact that this particular weapon has no trigger. Okay, I can accept that because it's a model, and typically you're not going to see that because once you're firing, your finger is going to be inside the trigger guard. And yes, he's holding it correctly. Whenever you're holding a firearm, you never want to have your finger on the trigger until you're ready for it to go bang. Okay, moving right along. Okay, if you haven't seen any of my other videos, I am a bit of a gun nerd. I'm not a nut. I'm not some psychopath that wants to go on a killing spree or anything of that nature. I like them. They're awesome. Excuse me. Go away. Go away. I'm making a video. Yeah, pretty much there's some little nuances of things, like you're not going to want your thumb right there. I promise you. You don't want your thumb on your left hand to be where his thumb is, because, yeah, there's a thing called a charging handle, a reciprocating charging handle. Not all firearms have them, but if it cycles back, it would potentially take your thumb and make it go away, or go into a different angle you may not like. Yeah. So, what did they get right? For the most part, I'm very critical. I am very, very critical about a video game and the firearms looking really close to what they should in real life. And I'm going to say this. The modeling team on the Division, you guys did a really, really, really good job overall on your weapons and trying to make them look as close to realistic as possible. The things that are missing are so minor and so insignificant that most people would never ever notice them. Little things like it's kind of hard to point at in this view, so little insignificant things, and I'm not going to go in depth like I did on other videos, but this little groove that goes up and down the side of the magazine is actually for an H&K brand product, which this is a Heckler & Koch H&K brand UMP 45. This right here would actually be a clear viewing window where you could actually see the ammunition inside the magazine. I understand that's extra modeling, extra texturing, or whatever, and that you don't want to make it to where you can look at it and see the rounds depleting. There's just too much involved in that. I understand. I'm okay with that. But at least put a little bit of a texture right there showing maybe your rounds to about right here, and then a follower and a spring, just to have something there for the nerds who actually nitpick the design flaws of things. The wear pattern of bolt, it's not 100% accurate, but okay. But I'm not going to completely nitpick everything on this, but I will say that you guys did a really good job overall on the modeling and texturing of the weapons. So I'm not going to get overly critical on that. For those who don't know what this actually is a all polymer cased submachine gun made by Heckler & Koch in Germany, and it is a 45 ACP. It's also made in 40 caliber and 9mm, but the 45 ACP was the first cartridge offered in the UMP platform. And the 40 caliber version, the 45 caliber version, and 9mm version, this gun shoots exceptionally well. It's not my favorite gun in the submachine gun categories. One of the videos that I have on YouTube shows me actually shooting the 40 caliber version of this gun in full auto, and so I do have some experience with actually shooting this weapon in real life. I've also shot it in 45 ACP. Never had my hands on the 9mm version or shot the 9mm version, but charging handle, pull it back, pull it up into this notch, drop your magazine in, and then you pop with the heel of your hand the charging handle and let it slam forward. it'll lock to the rear on an empty magazine. But yeah, we won't get into the overall aspects. This is not the point of this video. So, what they got right is the models look great, the textures look great. What details that are actually in actually look great. And a lot of times you might see some modeling in the plastic of the firearms. It's plastic, polymer, whatever you want to call it. But you'll oftentimes see some modeling in the finish, because the plastic may have been mixed different batches and might have some slight color variations. So there's a lot of really good things. Some heat distortion in the suppressor. You know, just in general, it's pretty good. So another thing that they got right is a very good diverse selection of weapons. I mean, you've got 3 different versions of the Model 700. Ignore my weapons loadout for this video. I'm just kind of screwing around with things just for the video's sake. These are not the guns that I actually use on a regular basis. Tactical Sausage, or SASG. You know, there's a good, diverse, you know, collection of weapons. The Bullfrog, which is actually the French FAMAS rifle. Will be a second or third generation of. Reason why you can tell is the first generation of the FAMAS actually had a bipod that fit along the side of it right here. Didn't have much of a pronounced grooving in the hand grip. And slight issue with the magazine is this groove is a little bit too large. These were primarily used with a regular, some games call it a Stanag mag or Stanag mag. It uses basically the same magazine as the M16 platform and the British L82. The British, French, and American rifles all use the same caliber and magazines. I know this for a fact because I have used the FAMAS, the earlier generations. In fact, in Berlin, Germany, training with British and French soldiers, we all kind of like, okay, I want to use your FAMAS, I want to use the British rifle. And I found that if you used the French FAMAS rifle with the British magazines and the American ammo, this made for one hell of an entry weapon. It was a fun rifle to use. As long as it was kept clean, just like the British rifle, as long as it was kept clean, they worked great. But yeah, so again, the diversity of firearms that's in the game is pretty good. You know, the exotics, okay, cool. I mean, I love seeing, these are my speed of guns. I like flashy, I like shiny, I like pretty guns. You know, the Medved, I'm not sure how they came up with the names for them. Yeah, having your EOTech all the way up here, although it will work up there, I don't think I'd really have it up there. Handguards tend to be not as stable as they could be. There are some exceptions, but then again, putting on the top plate's not that good of an idea either. That's why you see the majority of the AK variants, the scope mounting system, and is actually represented on here, is this section right here is actually a scope mount. This is a rail for attaching an optic. And most of the communist bloc or Russian-made weapons are actually going to have their optics mounted here, coming up, and sitting positioned over the top of the top cover. This is normally a stamped sheet metal piece, and not really that stable a platform for mounting an optic on. And I'm not really familiar with that style magazine for pretty much anything. It looks like the oversized magazine on something else, but yeah, not going to go there. So good diverse selection of firearms. You know, the exotics look cool. I like the looks of the exotics overall. You know, you got different variations of the M4 platform, LVOAC, not a LOVA or whatever y'all nerds are calling it. It's an LVOA-C. It's an LVOA-C, not a LUVA or whatever the hell. Damn gamer slang. There's 3 different versions of the M700. The Midas, it's all based off of the Uzi design. It's a little different variation of, but it's based off of the basic Uzi platform. PP-19, it's actually representative of the original Bison submachine guns, which were originally in 9x18 Makarov, but also now available in 9x19 NATO cartridge. Yeah, the SVDs. This is really cool, like the AA-12 or the Showstopper. Two different versions of the Thompson. The Urban MDR. I mean, there's a lot of good representations of firearms in the game. I give them kudos for that. Now we're going to talk about the negative. What they got wrong and what they're missing. Okay. First off. Okay. If you played much of The Division, you know what city this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be New York City. Even though if you were to compare the map of The Division to a real map or Google Maps of New York City, you're going to find that streets are missing, and it's not 100% correct. But I'm not worried about that factor of it. You're talking about this is supposed to be in New York City, which is in New York State, which is in the United States of America. If you're a gun person and you live in New York, I'm sorry, I really am. A New York compliant AR-15 looks nothing like an M4. The stock and pistol grip and yeah, that whole debacle. Pretty much none of these guns are California legal. About the only California compliant California, different communist state. The only New York City or New York compliant firearm probably in the entire game is going to be the M700, this version, the regular M700. You can pretty much discount all of these. Maybe get away with the 700 carbon, 700 tactical. Those you can probably get away with. Yeah, that's pretty much it on long guns. On shotguns, the Remington 870, the the standard edition, maybe a couple other ones in here, but definitely not the SASG series guns, and definitely not the Medved, and definitely not the Showstopper. Even handgun wise, you're never going to see a 93R in New York. You might see the the M9 and the revolvers. That's not a problem. But if you know anything about New York laws, you're just not going to have a whole lot of, and I hate to use the term, assault rifles or submachine guns, light machine guns. These guns are not going to exist in New York. You're going to find maybe in police stockpiles M4s, primarily 16-inch barrels and semi-automatic only. The same thing you're going to find in a civilian collection in any other state that is a non-communist state, like New York and California. You're going to find a very select few of the shorter M4s with the 10.5-inch or 14.5-inch barrel, with a select fire, fully automatic, or 3-shot burst selector switch, primarily fully automatic. Very few of those. And you're going to find some MP5s, maybe some UMPs, but that's it for anything in fully automatic. You're not going to find, unless it was military or National Guard, and then you're going to find M4s, M16A2s, and you're going to find the M249, maybe a shotgun, depending on if it's Marine Corps or Army, whether it's a Remington or Savage or what have you. Yeah, depending on the branch. You're not going to see a lot of shotguns anyway, but you're going to see a handful of civilian-based hunting rifles like the 700 standard edition in the game, and you'll see a select few handguns. You're not going to find a lot of guns in New York. You're damn sure not going to find very many automatic weapons at all. Very, very few, and they're only going to be in law enforcement or military applications only. Yeah. So moving on from that, that's a whole thing that's just not going to happen. You're not going to have these kind of weapons in New York City. Just seriously, it's not going to happen. So, on top of that, you're damn sure not going to find very many suppressors in New York. So if we get past the whole, holy crap, you're not going to have all these guns in New York. If we get past all that and say that for some reason New York was no longer a communist-held territory, and yeah, get past that whole crap, right? What is the most common handgun you're going to find in the United States of America? As much as I don't like them at all. There is nothing I like about them. It is the Glock family of firearms. I am not a Glock fanboy. I have never liked the Glock firearms. Probably never will. Have I had some? Yes, I've had a couple. And being that I worked in multiple gun shops, I have sold hundreds of the damn things. Are they bad guns? No, hell no. They're pretty good firearms. They're just not my particular taste. I don't like the way they feel in my hand. I don't like the way they shoot. I don't like the accuracy of them. There's just nothing I like about them personally. So that's why I'm not a fan of them. But there's a bunch of Glocks in this country. The Glock 17, the Glock 19, the Glock 21, the Glock 20, Glock 23, and now you're going to find the 42 and the 43, which are the subcompacts. But there's going to be a metric buttload of Glock 19s all around the country. A bunch of Glock 17s. A bunch of Glock 22s. The Glock 22 is the standard full-size Glock in .40 caliber, which is carried by, hell, 60 to 70% of all police departments in the entire country carry the Glock Model 22. So that's going to be one of the most common firearms you're going to find, and that should be reflected in the game, and there are no Glocks at all in this game. As much as I don't like them, they need to be in the game. I'm sorry, they just need to be here. The next firearm that definitely needs to be in the game is the SIG P320. There's no SIG products in this game. I'm not sure if SIG themselves have said no, we don't want our firearms in your game, but they're missing out. If it wasn't for video games like this, the LVOAC wouldn't sell a damn gun. War Products, or whatever the name of the company is that makes the LVOAC, it's a damn cool firearm. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to own one. In fact, I'm probably going to end up buying some of those Chinese knockoff parts just to make a version of the LVOAC that, whatever. But the real ones are expensive as hell, and you either have to get it with the 14.7 with the pinned-on flash suppressor and that bullshit. I don't even get into that. So you're not going to find a whole lot of people shooting LVOACs because of the cost. So yeah, the whole thing for me is there's just so many guns that are missing and so many guns that shouldn't be in the game. But the SIG P320 definitely needs to be in the game because the variation of the SIG P320 is what the U.S. Army is now using. Now, the thing I love about the SIG P320 versus the Glock, and there's so many Glock fanboys, oh, the U.S. military should have gone with the Glock. Yeah, screw you. The P320 has the benefit of the registered serialized item is not the grip frame of the gun. It is actually the internal firing mechanism, meaning you can quickly take that part of it out, switch the grip frame over to a smaller size, bigger size, different color, whatever, in seconds. I've taken the SIG P320 in a matter of 20 seconds, completely stripped the gun down, and changed it from a full-size 9mm to a subcompact carry gun in 40 caliber in 20 seconds. So it's the adaptability. There's modules, there's grip frames, there's all kind of cool stuff you can do to quickly accessorize and customize the SIG P320. So for a game that has lots of customizable aspects of the firearms, totally missing out by not having the SIG P320. So you need to get on the ball, devs, and try to find a way of getting the SIG products in the game. You've got SIG products in Ghost Recon Wildlands. The MPX. Yeah, you got some really kick-ass guns in Ghost Recon that you don't have in here. Another one would be that's one that's in Ghost Recon Wildlands that should be in this game is, and I forget the name of it. It was a DLC item which I actually bought because I thought it was cool as hell. It's based off of the Silencer Co.'s new pistol that is a 9mm full-size pistol with an integral suppressor built into the gun. It is very low noise, very low recoil, and just a kick-ass gun. I love it. Whether it's practical or not, who cares? It's just cool as shit. So that one needs to be in a game. The guns that shouldn't be in a game, 93R. I like it. It's cool. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, there is no 93Rs floating around this country. There's very few of them. If you're gonna have the damn 93R, you might as well have that little. And I would love to have one, but they were never importable into the U.S. with a minor few exceptions of like 3 or 4 of them that might have slipped in. But there's a little small subcompact Russian pistol that uses a 5.45 by 18 caliber. It's essentially a neck down Makarov 9mm round to shoot a little small 21 caliber projectile or 22 caliber projectile. It was the assassin pistol. It was meant to be shot silenced at short range with very low noise. It was an assassination pistol, but it was, you know, I'm not going to get into the history of it, but, you know, if you're going to have the 93R, then what the hell, you might as well have that one in there. The military M9, yeah, definitely needs to be here in the game. There's going to be a buttload of those hitting the market really soon because the military dumped them. Police Magnum. Police 686 Magnum. Come on, seriously? Okay, I love this gun. The standard model is going to be a 6-shot. However, there is a 7-shot variation of this gun. And there is a upsized frame version of these revolvers from Smith & Wesson that actually hold 8 rounds. The R8s. The R8 series pistols should be in this game. I'm sorry, but if you're going to have a revolver in a tactical game and you don't have the R8 or even the R6 or that variation of the Smith & Wesson custom shotguns, seriously, you need to get your face slapped. They absolutely kick ass. But as for this, the 686, this is actually going to be representative of the 6-inch barreled version of it, which no police department in the entire country of the United States of America would ever issue a 6-inch barreled .357 Magnum revolver. There's too many liberals that would cry, and they would be issued, and I have seen issued, a .586 with 4-inch barrel. And I'm sure some departments have gotten the 4-inch 686s, but I don't know any departments that would issue the 6-inch variation or the 8-inch version or what have you, because you get increased velocity, and the only thing those guns are good for is for killing people, and they're horrible guns, and guns are bad, okay? Not to mention that the hole in the barrel is bigger than the hole in the cylinder. That's kind of wrong, guys. I've personally owned several of these, and I had one that actually had a fixed scope, a fixed 2-power scope. It wasn't a very big scope. It actually went from right here to about right here. It was silver to match the rest of the gun, and, you know, silver scope mounts and all. But I could sit there and at 25 yards with 38 special wad cutters, make a 1-inch group. It was an extremely accurate damn gun. So, but my beef on that is you put the police tag on there, and no police department's going to have a 6-inch barrel gun. They would only have a 4-inch. So, it's another thing you got wrong. Other guns that are missing from this game is damn sure going to be grenade launchers, but that's something for a different video. 1911 variations, great. I love my 1911s. I am touching a 1911 right now. It is an STI. I love my 1911s. I've had dozens upon dozens of 1911s throughout the years. Definitely got to have them. This particular version right here, the Tactical 1911, this is very close representation of the M45A1 that was submitted for military contract and failed. But it's freaking awesome. Colt firearm. But as much as I love the 1911s, in fact, I just mentioned that the current 1911 that I have sitting next to me is an STI. They're out of Texas. If you're not familiar with their products, they are absolutely freaking awesome. However, as much as I love them, there's one version or one product line that they make called the 2011. It is a double stack 1911, doubling the capacity. A lot of them now are geared towards competition, and they're going to be a 9mm instead of 45 ACP, and have up to like 26 round capacity on the magazines for the extended mags. The STI competition guns are outstanding. They look awesome. They're great products. They're accurate. They're reliable. They're just cool as hell. So why would you not have an STI 2011 damn game? Seriously, get your shit together. Get me some STIs in this game. All right. When we covered the SIG product line, got to have a SIG P226. A lot of police departments for a short time carried those. Some military agencies. Come on, it's a SIG 226. If you're not familiar with the pistol, if you've never shot a SIG 226, shame on you. They are damn fine firearms. They're really, really accurate. They're relatively comfortable to shoot, but the accuracy is outstanding. They're great products. You should really have a SIG P226 in this game. So again, get some SIG products in here, man. P226, the P320. We definitely got to have the MCX and the MPX. So we got to have some SIG products. We got to have STI products. Got to have Glock products. Even if you just put in the Glock 17 and the Glock 19, good enough. Even if you just put in the Glock 19, good enough. Again, I'm not a Glock fanboy. I don't really care for the guns at all, and will never own another one. So yeah, I mean, there's millions of people that have them, so why wouldn't you have it in the game? Come on, get it together. What else are we not getting in the game? We have in here, and I don't have one on me, the Mosin Nagant, the M44. Okay, M44 carbine is cool, but any accuracy-based versions of that platform, the Mosin Nagant, will be the 9130 PU sniper, or the updated PO, or there was a PSO 24 scope mounted on the 9130 as a sniper variation. I would like to see that. And for scopes, we definitely got to have the PSO, the standard PSO Dragunov style scope. It's been mounted on a number of different guns, including the Dragunov, the Mosins, in different variations. I mean, there's different scopes also, but the PSO, the standard Russian sniper scope, it just definitely needs to be in the game. And if you look at, and of course there won't be one whenever I'm looking for one, the Mosin inside the game, all I got is a classic M44. Really? That's it. Bastards. I don't do a lot of crafting. Hunting M44. Yeah. Oh, this is another pet peeve. Steyr AUG. It's here in the game as a submachine gun, a 9mm submachine gun. I have had my hands on maybe twice in the last 30 years. Twice have I had my hands on, and only once have I ever shot a 9mm Steyr AUG. 80% of the Steyr AUGs ever produced were in 5.56, not 9mm. So if we have the 9mm version, why the hell don't we have the 5.56 version? Seriously, come on. And while I'm searching for this normal M44 or Mosin-based weapon, we have the SCARs in the game. We have the SCAR 16 and the SCAR 17 in the game. We have the P416, which is a variation of, I would assume, basically the HK 416. Why don't we have the 417? And why in the holy hell do we not have the frickin' IMI Tavor? Seriously? Why don't we have a Tavor? Really? I mean, it's a kick-ass gun. Even if it's a first gen or second gen, doesn't matter. We need the Tavors. And the primary caliber of the Tavor right now is 5.56. However, it is semi-functioning in 300 blackout, but it is also offered in 9mm. So we should have both variations of that. Now, I'm going to look at the classic M44 as crafted. This is an aftermarket scope mount. This would not be a Russian style scope mount. The Russian style scope mount would actually mount to a rail on the side of the receiver right here, and the original PO and PU type scope mounts would come up and sit mostly centered above the bore line. They were great, but you didn't often see them in the M44 size. You would see it in the 9130, which is much longer. I think it's a 27-inch barrel versus this little short 16-inch barrel. And almost never would you find these with a threaded barrel for putting a suppressor on, although it's a great idea. And where's the bayonet lug? There's a lot of these came with a spike bayonet, and some actually came with a flat blade that also folded to the side. This gun has a bayonet in the model of the gun. If we can have a bayonet on here, why can't we just toggle a switch, the number 4 key, and look, doesn't matter if you have a suppressor on or not, this spike ass bayonet is, you can't do it with a suppressor, because this pivots right here, comes around and snaps over the end of the barrel and is held in by spring tension and a pin, and you got a bayonet. Why the hell can't we get a bayonet for an unsuppressed Mosin? Come on, come on. We need melee stuff. So, yeah, that's a given. We need the M9130 for this game instead of just the M44 carbine. There were more 9130s. There's, what, close to 84 trillion of them produced. It's exaggeration, but there's a shitload of them. Probably a billion of them, or well into the millions, we'll say, of those produced. Definitely more 9130s made than just about any other firearm in the world, if not the most of any. So we need the 9130. It's a longer version of the M44. You got the basic model, just stretch the damn thing out. Lose the bayonet on it because the 9130s didn't have the bayonets. Not going to get carried away with a whole lot of bolt action guns because we do have the M700. Yes, it would be nice to get the Ruger Precision Rifle. Alright, if you're into guns, you know the Ruger Precision Rifle. Ruger, you did a damn fine job with that one. I'll give you that. So, we need the Ruger Precision Rifle. Submachine guns. Well, first off, looking at assault rifles, the FAMAS, they don't exist in this country. There was a very, very few civilianized 16-inch barreled semi-automatic only versions of these that came in the country, and they really weren't that good. So essentially, realistically, anybody who has one, they're not going to get rid of it, and they're damn sure probably not going to use it because it's not really that reliable. The real thing is pretty good. I like the real FAMAS, but seriously, it's just not going to happen. A lot of people like it in the game. A lot of people don't like it in the game, but they're not going to exist in this country. I'm sorry, this game is supposed to be taking place in New York City. It's just like the 93R. They're just not going to exist. The primary rifle you're going to see a metric buttload of in this country is going to be Glock handguns, AR-15 rifles, shotguns, bolt-action rifles. You're going to see civilianized guns like lever-action rifles, bolt-actions, a few other semi-automatics, but mostly it's going to be the AR-15 platform guns. You're going to see there's a bunch of 9130s and M44s in this country. You have to kind of think more realistic on what you're actually going to find. You're not going to find a lot of automatic weapons in this country. Contrary to popular belief, for people who don't live in the United States and you're watching these videos, then United States, there's a lot of guns in this country. Don't get me wrong. But there's just not a lot of machine guns in this country. Yes, there are a bunch in civilian ownership. Not just in military ownership and law enforcement, but there are civilians who legally own and some that illegally own. But there are some, but they make up a very, very small percentage of the number of firearms in this country. So I understand it's a game, you want to have fun, so yes, let's have submachine guns, assault rifles, and sniper rifles, and that kind of stuff. That's great. But if you're going to have the Bullfrog, which doesn't really exist in this country, then for assault rifles, we definitely got to have the Tavor. We need the Steyr AUG 5.56. We need some more modern stuff. And if you're going to have the French FAMAS rifle, then why the hell don't we have the FR2 sniper rifle? Cool looking rifle. Let's start winding this down. But, you know, we've got the Medved. Okay. And we have the Showstopper. You know, the Medved is just a Saiga 12 that's got a short barrel on it. And I've dealt with the guys from Kalashnikov USA. Awesome group of guys and gals. Make great products. Love them. They're great guys. There's a lot of variations of Saiga 12. If you're going to have them, then have a different variation of it. Give us the pistol version. There's no pistol version of Saiga 12. Yes, there was. There was actually a breacher version that actually had a side folding stock, the pistol grip. It usually carried the short magazine, and the barrel was next to gone. Was actually cut down to here. You use a different gas block assembly, but it was a short barrel with a breacher plug extended off of here, so you could actually get up there and blow doorknobs off. Give us the breacher version of the shotgun. And I don't know very many people who are going to shoot a semi-automatic shotgun like this with slugs. Most people are going to use buckshot. Just saying. Just saying. Yes, some people do use them, but yeah, it's not as common. The Pecan, love it, gorgeous. But why don't we have the circular drum magazines for it instead? The 75 round circular drum magazines. Another thing this game has got completely freaking wrong is there is, I'm not going to get too technical on the rest of it, but for the most part, there's no way of changing the RPM of your weapon. You can't change the rate of fire of a firearm. You can affect it a little bit with a different trigger maybe, or on some guns with a heavier or lighter bolt assembly or spring assembly. There's ways of tweaking, but really, get a plus 32 on my RPM, or yeah, that's just not going to happen. Magazines. There's no such thing as a 121% magazine. In real life, there's just no such damn thing. For most weapons, you're going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 32 for the Uzis. You're going to have 40, 60, 90, 100. Those are going to be your normal magazine sizes for magazine-based weapons. Your belt-fed weapons, the M60 machine guns are typically going to be 100 rounds. There might be some commercial 50-round bags out there, but typically the way that the M60 was fired from when it was in a portable fashion like this would not be Rambo'd out with a loose belt. There would be a green bag hanging off of this big metal clip that's right here that would hold 100 rounds of ammunition. The M249 variations, now remember, I'm old school, Cold War, old as dirt, and the 249s that we used whenever I was still in the service utilize a plastic drum that held 200 rounds. That was the only way the ammo came, was in, okay, the way it's supposed to come. It's different when you're in the field and you ask for ammo for your frickin' saw and you're sitting there scraping up links off the damn dirt because they sent you boxes of ammo with 20 round boxes of ammo. So you had to open up the box, dump the rounds into your hand, dig the frickin' links off the damn dirt, and link your own frickin' belts back together for a belt-fed. Yes, that's happened to me twice. Annoying as shit. But yeah, anyway, so normally you're going to get a 200 round drum. That is standard. There's no other drum mechanism that was available back then. There might be now, but whenever I was in, we didn't have anything but a 200 round drum. That was it. Whenever you knew that you were at the end of your belt or close to the end of your belt, oftentimes what we would do was actually pull the last little bit of it out and let it hang off the side, and then we would clip in another drum so that whenever we went through the last few rounds of that little bit, all we had to do was open up the feed tray cover, pull the tab over, lock it in, and go from there. But the magazine size was 200 rounds. Yes, there was also the ability of the M249 based weapons, which I'm surprised I don't have one on me, which I don't use them very commonly in this game. Well, do I not have any? No, I don't. They would actually accept a 30 round M16 magazine. You could insert them at a steep angle into a built-in adapter for utilizing that. We called them suicide mags. I actually kept one whenever I carried the M249 saw for a while. I kept an old school pouch that held the old 20 round magazines, that I took the springs out of a 30 round magazine, shoved them into this 20 round magazine, decreased the ammunition count to maybe 12 to 13 rounds because of the spring taking up more room. It wouldn't hold, but maybe on a good day, between 12 and 14 rounds. It's what I called a suicide burp mag. And with the rate of fire, you could adjust it up to around 1100 rounds per minute by hitting the adverse mode on the rotary switch underneath the barrel, the gas system. So max rate of fire was somewhere around 1100 rounds a minute, 5.56, and you shove a 15 round mag in there, or a 12 round mag in there, that's gone in a second. It's a burp. You get a quick burp. It's what I call a suicide mag. If you just had to have something for that oh shit moment and you were out of your regular ammo, you didn't have any belts, all you had was your little suicide mags, you pop that in there and shoot it while you're scooting. Shoot and scoot. So, yeah. We need realistic ammunition counts, magazine counts. Sorry, that's just something that annoys the crap out of me. The M700, standard model M700, is not going to hold 7 rounds in a magazine. It's not. It's not going to hold 7 rounds in a magazine. If it was the 223, the small caliber, small frame, you're talking maybe 4. If you're shooting a 308, which I'm assuming that this game is using 308 for the M700s, which is the most common cartridge you're going to find for law enforcement / whatever general use. 308 is perfect. You're going to have 3, maybe 4 in the magazine. Unless you have a chassis system or a removable magazine system like represented in the M700 Tactical or in the M700 Carbon in the game. There's also Magpul makes a stock that utilizes their Magpul AR-10 based magazines, but they're 20 and 25 rounds. We need realistic ammunition counts. We need realistic rate of fires that are not adjustable. I would rather this game go with a realistic weapon system, kind of closely related to what the Ghost Recon Wildlands has. You make a good solid headshot and, you know, that's it, you know, one-shot kills. More realistic damage system would be nice. The UMP-45 shooting a 45 ACP slug, which would most likely be a 230 grain ball round, hits like a frickin' school bus. Compare that, you know, this is showing 18,000 damage. You can see my loadout here. So 18,000 damage per bullet versus this little Tech 9, 14.8k versus 18. Okay, the 9mm does less, but if you look at the damage with all these, yeah, I'm not gonna get to the RNG shit here, but yeah, we can forget on that. But we need to keep this stable. The rate of fire needs to be a stable factor, and the magazine size needs to be a real world stat. I'm sorry, it just bugs the shit out of me seeing plus 11%, plus 121%. All that just annoys the crap out of me. So, if you have any other suggestions of other guns that the game should have but does not, list them in the comments. If you see any other guns that are here that should not be here, yeah, let me know as well. So hopefully we can make our voices known, and who knows, maybe at some point or another they might listen and they might adjust that and give us some damn SIGs, give us a Glock. Alright, thanks for watching.